Days of Our Lives, spoilers reveal that 7 December twists are ahead, so these Salemites will face the unexpected. Duel fans will see some jaw-dropping news and unraveling mysteries in the coming weeks, so let's discuss the upcoming drama. 1. Johnny's second baby shocker. As Johnny Dimera and Chanel Dupree Dimera celebrate their first Christmas with Trey Dimera, Chanel will admit her surprise pregnancy. Although Johnny will be happy on some level, he'll also worry about expanding their family so soon after adding Trey to the mix. Babies mean investing a lot of time and money, so it's easy to see why Johnny will be concerned. 2. Holly's Paris pitch to Tate. Over with Holly Jonas, she'll pitch Tate Black the idea of coming with her to Paris for the holidays. Tate may have some reservations about that since Brady Black needs all the support he can get right now. Rachel Black also needs her big brother to visit her at Bayview, so Tate may not jump at the chance to go out of town for winter break. Days spoilers say Tate and Holly have some conflict brewing, so a minor disagreement could ultimately snowball and expose some bigger problems between them. 3. Eli and Lonnie's Christmas homecoming. As for Eli Grant and Lonnie Price Grant, they'll return to Salem just in time for Christmas. That'll delight all Lonnie and Eli's loved ones since it's always nice to see some familiar faces during the holiday season. 4. Peter Blake's stunning comeback. Peter Blake will also make a stunning comeback starting December 19th, so Kristen Dimera's brother and Stefano Dimera's adopted son will certainly make some waves. 5. Brady and Sarah enjoy a kiss under the mistletoe. Other days spoilers say Sarah Horton will get swept up in a romantic moment with Brady. Once Brady and Sarah kiss under the mistletoe, Xander Kyriakis will apparently catch a glimpse and feel his jealousy bubble up. 6. Chad makes it home for the Horton holiday festivities. Thankfully, Chad Dimera will make it home for the Horton holiday festivities. Days spoilers say Chad will be rescued along with the other Dimera captives, so that'll allow him to spend Christmas with Thomas Dimera and Charlotte Dimera despite the whole custody mess. 7. Rafe delivers shocking lab report. As for Rafe Hernandez, he'll deliver a shocking lab report that'll identify some mysterious bones found in the crypt. The Dimeras will have to deal with some big revelations that'll affect the whole family, so stay tuned for updates on all the family chaos. Days of Our Lives spoilers say some wild surprises are ahead in Salem. Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Tuesday, December 2nd, reveal that Rachel Black will flip out on Brady Black, while Cat Green, Budine, sends an SOS to EJ Dimera. Belle Black will also have a request for Paulina Price, so let's talk about what's ahead on Days. First, on Tuesday's Duel episode, Gwen von Lochner will bump into Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez. That'll bring some tension, especially if Gwen gets snarky over Javi and Leo's engagement news. Next, Kayla Johnson will have some important confirmation from Marlena Evans regarding her diagnosis. Marlena will get updates on the latest medical details, but her thoughts will inevitably drift to her fears about Rachel. It'll be time for Brady to take Rachel to Bayview, where she's set to begin her inpatient treatment. Rachel will want to go home with Brady and will flip out when he refuses to drive her back to the townhouse. Instead, Brady will have to walk out on Rachel and leave her screaming behind the door of her room. Days spoilers say Brady will get emotional over how hard all this is, but he'll know Rachel needs more help than he can give her. As for Kat, she'll send out an SOS to EJ and hope for some assistance. Will this have something to do with Chad Dimera's vanishing act and Kat's growing concerns about him? Over with Belle, she'll need some assistance as well. Days spoilers say Belle will have a request for Paulina, so she may be trying to figure out a path forward now that she knows Rachel shot EJ, not Kristen Dimera. Kristen is currently being held captive, but everyone thinks she's on the run following a prison escape. Since Kristen wasn't guilty of the crime she confessed to, Belle will have a legal mess to sort out and may get Mayor Price's input. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Kristen will score freedom in more ways than one down the road, so stay tuned. Leo worries to Javi about Chad's disappearance, but it's the holidays and they're newly engaged, so he moves on fast. But not fast enough for Gwen to run across them and wonder what the deal is with that fancy ring of Javi's. Her taunting stops dead in its tracks, though, when she learns they're engaged. Gwen pivots to, as Leo puts it, an insincere symphony of saccharine sentiments, so they leave her to get the ring sorted. Cat drops into EJ's office to ask about Jennifer trying to take Chad's kids away. She's horrified, then worries even more when EJ tells her that Chad's vanished. She seems more upset that someone could be targeting the Dimeras than he is. Think of the optics if EJ made a big deal of it. He's on the case. But is he, really? Cat leaves and summons Rafe to a super-not-secret meeting outside the pub to discuss Chad's disappearance. Rafe wastes no time in pointing out what we've all been thinking, that EJ could be the one behind the disappearances. They head over to Chad's room at the inn and don't find any evidence he's been there since he checked in. He, Tony, Kristen, Megan, Stefan, and Dimitri are all missing. The link? Outside of Dimitri, everyone's father is Stefano Dimera. The only one left is EJ. Belle has Paulina over to tell her about Rachel. She wants this handled through mental health instead of the juvenile justice system. Paulina worries about how EJ will feel about it, but he already knows, so whatever, it's fine. Paulina, though, can't commit to Belle's plan. Kayla stops into a fully recovered Marlena's hospital room to tell her that she does indeed have Lyme disease. That's fine. Marlena's just worried about Rachel now that this is all coming out. She failed her granddaughter, and now the kid's paying in Bayview. Kayla just tells her friend that she did the best she could, and she has to take care of herself now, then leaves Marlena. When Belle shows up, Kayla tells her about Marlena's diagnosis, and when EJ joins them, Belle glares him down, then leaves to check on her mom. The second Belle shows up, Marlena wants to know what's going on with Rachel, so she gets the latest rundown. Outside, EJ's treated to a dressing down as Kayla blames his budget cuts for Marlena's lab misdiagnosis. EJ points out how many times the hospital labs messed up tests. Oh, burn. But he'll move funds there. Brady drops Rachel off into her brand new room at Bayview. She really doesn't want to be there, but that ship sailed a murder attempt or two ago. Brady's response is a lot kinder, though, so he just reassures her that they'll all visit. Even Grandma Marlena, who totally dropped the ball. He hands her a stuffed baseball from Grandpa John that meant a lot when Brady was a kid, and sends Rachel off to a journey of help and healing. Or he tries to. She's sobbing as she begs him not to go, and Brady walks away, pausing outside her door, heartbroken as Rachel calls for him. Gwen watches Leo and Javi from afar in the square as they work out wedding plans and decide on a New Year's Eve wedding. She looks thoughtful. Belle corners EJ in his office to talk to him about Rachel. He feels for the kid and is fine with keeping her out of the criminal justice system. Brady visits Marlena to tell her that his heart's been torn out. Rachel's admitted, and it's all her fault. He loves her, but maybe she should just concentrate on getting better herself and stay out of Rachel's care. Back at Bayview, the nurse drops into Sophia's room to ask if she can get anything for her. Sophia, as she does, just stares, until she wanders into Rachel's room and smiles. "Hi, Rachel!" Creepy Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Brady Black just told Belle Black about Rachel Black's memory. Belle agreed to keep it quiet for now, since Rachel is getting treatment. However, secrets have a way of coming out, and when this one does, EJ Dimera might be the only one who can help. Keep reading, and let's discuss the possibilities. Let's start off with Rachel, who intentionally gave Sarah Horton pistachio ice cream, knowing she was allergic. The little girl regretted it right as it happened, but it was already too late. Then, Rachel had a memory of shooting EJ. This is huge, as everyone, including Brady, has been really hard on Kristen Dimera about the shooting. For now, Brady has put in a call to Rachel's psychologist. There isn't a juvenile bed available yet. So, for the time being, Rachel is at University Hospital under observation. Brady wanted to talk to Marlena Evans about Rachel's memory, but she's about to go under the knife. Brady had to make a choice and took a risk telling Belle the whole truth. The man is beating himself up over Rachel as well as being so hard on Kristen. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Belle said there was no need to do anything right now legally. The lawyer said that everyone is safe and Rachel is getting treatment. For now, Belle has agreed to keep it a secret, but warned that won't last forever. At some point, the courts will get involved. While Belle reasons Rachel's age could help, the little girl has committed a long list of crimes already. A judge might reason that she's better off institutionalized, secrets in Salem never stay hidden for long. Belle has agreed to keep Rachel's role in the shooting a secret. However, that means Kristen won't be getting out of prison anytime soon. The fact that everyone thinks Kristen escaped complicates the situation even more. However, there is one person who could help Rachel and Kristen. Belle might have to turn to the man she despises for help. Not only is EJ a lawyer and former DA, but he's also the shooting victim. If he refuses to press charges against a little girl, that might be good for Rachel. However, if she commits another crime, that could fall back on EJ and Belle. This agreement could also bring Belle closer to EJ all over again. Days of Our Lives, spoilers for Tuesday, December 2nd, reveal some major moments in Salem. A super couple gets an icy reception from a friend, while a character has an interesting request, and a father struggles. Find out what's set to unravel on Tuesday's show, below Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Tuesday, December 2nd, hint that Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez will get an icy reception when they run into Gwen Rizchek. Of course, the super couple will likely still be on cloud nine from their Thanksgiving engagement, so it sounds like Queenie won't be happy for her former bestie and the news he has to share. Across town, Cat Green will have an interesting request for EJ Dimera. It sounds like Cat is digging for more information on EJ's secret lab, so this request will likely be tied to her ISA mission. Read this: Days of Our Lives, spoilers, Joy Wesley's baby, surprise rocks, Daddy Alex's world, Stephanie's worst nightmare. Meanwhile, Belle Black will have a request of her own when she turns to her boss, Mayor Paulina Price. Belle will ask Paulina for support. So is this a work matter or a personal one? This might be about Rachel Black's confession regarding EJ's shooting, too. Speaking of Belle, her mom, Marlena Evans, will get confirmation on her diagnosis from Kayla Johnson. Finally, Brady Black struggles to get through to his daughter, Rachel. Unfortunately, the little girl's mental health issues run deep, but she's too young to realize this. After shooting EJ, her attempt to trigger Sarah Horton's pistachio allergy was disturbing, not to mention convincing Thomas Dimera to catapult a pumpkin cat's way. Still, it looks like Rachel will be at Bayview for an extended period of time, and it's going to kill Brady inside to do this to his little girl. But it is something that needs to be done. What storyline are you most looking forward to during Tuesday's show? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to check back with Soap Opera Spy for all the latest Days of Our Lives, spoilers, news, rumors, comings and goings, and updates. On the December 2nd episode of Days of Our Lives, viewers were reminded of what makes a great soap opera: characters we care about, high emotional stakes, and a story that affects more than one person. Kudos to the cast and crew, Rachel begging Brady to forgive her for shooting EJ and poisoning Sarah. As he left her at the Bayview Mental Institution, drove home that maybe, the dear Moppet has finally taken responsibility for her actions, and that Brady has accepted his role in driving her to this point. But that didn't make the scene any less tear-jerking. Any parent who has ever held their screaming child down while they endured a medical procedure that we knew was for their good, but they were still begging to be freed from, can relate. Brady is doing the best he can in an intolerable situation, and this hospitalization doesn't just affect Rachel, Brady, and the missing Kristen. Belle went to Paulina, begging for clemency. Madame Mayor was shocked to hear that someone, other than herself, would ask for special consideration for a relative, and told Belle she would consider her request. This led Belle to confront EJ, and any scenes between Belle and EJ are always a win. We are thrilled the show keeps finding ways to throw them together. Finally, after Kayla told Marlena that she was completely blameless for what happened with Rachel, even though Marlena kept the exact same secret Belle was chewing out EJ over, Brady wasn't as generous. He rightfully blamed Marlena for her role in the disaster and made it clear that she wasn't wanted moving forward, leaving her crushed. Then, at the end of the episode, the final perfect flourish, Sophia exchanging her catatonic act for one of the creepiest smiles ever, and a demented, "Hi, Rachel!" Sophia wants to get back at Tate. Tate is Rachel's big brother. This is how you write an umbrella story, Days. And we are here for it. Days of Our Lives is bringing back Peter Blake into the Dimera mix as several family members are stuck in the family crypt. It's been decades since the character was on screen, so it's time for a little refresher on him. Peter Blake arrived in Salem in 1993 to keep his sister, Kristen, away from John. He is the adoptive son of Stefano, and like many of Stefano's sons, Peter was a chip off the old block. Not only did Peter team up with Stefano to try to kill John, but they also convinced Kristen to marry her adoptive brother Tony because Stefano was dying. In true Stefano fashion, he wasn't dying. It was just another Dimera scheme. Along with being Stefano's pawn, Peter had his own criminal ways, like dealing drugs. When Peter fell in love with Jennifer, he tried to change his ways, but it didn't last. Laura discovered the truth, only to be committed to an asylum because of Peter, who later played hero at the asylum, rescuing Laura and Jennifer from a fire. Jack returned to town just as Jennifer and Peter finally found happiness. Peter and Jack fought for Jennifer, with several schemes taking place to win her heart, including Peter exposing Jack's affair with Laura. Peter didn't go quietly and tried to kidnap Jennifer, only to be shot by Jack. While Salem thought Peter was dead, Stefano saved his son and sent him to recover in the jungle. In true Days fashion, Peter showed up alive the next year to wreak havoc on those who wronged him. First up was kidnapping Jennifer and taking her to the Grand Canyon. On his way to be with her, Peter was bitten by a mosquito that gave him jungle madness, which caused fits of violent rage and massive strength. During this time, Peter nearly killed Dr. Rolfe as Stefano tried to have the mad scientist help his son. Jack and Jennifer literally joined the circus with Abigail to escape Peter. Once Peter found them in the circus, he tried again to kidnap Jennifer. Instead, she was in a car crash that left her presumed dead. In a fit of grief, Peter arrived at her funeral to shoot up the place. Jennifer's spirit stopped him and convinced Peter to go to the police for his crimes. Stefano managed to obtain the cure for Peter's jungle madness while he was in a minimum security prison. The character was last seen on screen in '98. In 2019, it was reported that Peter had gone missing after his release from prison. However, when Kristen needed his Dimera vote a couple of years later, Days fans learned she had a way of getting in touch with her brother. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the December 3rd, 2025 episode tease a day of hospital visits across Salem. While Leo pays Marlena a friendly visit at the hospital, Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for December 3rd reveal an unimaginable pairing teaming up in Bayview. Leo visits Marlena. Tate tells Holly about Rachel. What is Holly reading? In Bayview, it seems Sophia may be keeping her recovery a secret. When Tate catches Sophia with Rachel, the two may continue hiding the fact that Sophia has recovered. Days of Our Lives, Leo and Javi are set to get married on New Year's Eve, giving Leo the happiness he's longed for his entire life. However, as soap fans know, happiness doesn't last very long, and Leo's time is about up. There's no question that Leo has come a long way since he arrived in Salem as a con artist looking out for number one. Thanks to the love of Javi and his enduring friendship with Marlena, Leo has become a decent guy. Newly engaged Javi and Leo are wasting no time getting to the wedding of it all. After a little push from Leo, Javi agreed to a New Year's Eve wedding, and fans are so here for their happiness. Over on Reddit, a fan wrote, "I really, really love Javi and Leo. Javi is my favorite character right now. He's down to earth and just so damn sweet. I feel like he balances Leo out, and I don't know, I love a redemption. I love a wounded person rebuilding a better life." Another fan on the same thread declared, "I'm so glad that Leo found redemption and is now living his best life with the man he truly loves." A different Reddit thread had a fan saying, "I get a kick out of Leo and Javi. I love when Leo was like, we getting married on New Year's Eve, and all of y'all are invited random town square people. Javi being like, no dude, and he like, never mind. LOL, Gwen is totally going to do something to ruin the wedding though," replied a fan to the above comment. The fan isn't wrong either. Gwen was lurking around as Leo announced his wedding date to Javi to all of Horton Town Square. It's no secret that Gwen wants Leo out of town, so he will stop looking into what EJ is doing at the secret free clinic lab. Since Leo won't leave Javi, Gwen will need to revert to Plan B. Thanks to the winter promo for Days, fans know that Dimitri resurfaces from wherever Gwen and EJ made him disappear to. Dimitri plants a kiss on Leo in the footage, which means trouble for Leo and Javi. While we don't know for sure when things will go awry for Javi and Leo, a wedding is the soap opera way of blowing up a relationship. If that is the case, Leo's happiness is about to be destroyed soon. What do you think about Leo now? Does he deserve happiness with Javi, or does he deserve to have it taken away? Sound off in the comments section below. Welcome to Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing, or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Brady's initial reaction to learning that Marlena knew Rachel had shot EJ for months and never said anything was understandable. He was shocked to his core after learning 3 stunning truths in a short amount of time. But maybe Brady needs to remember why he didn't want to even tell Marlena what he had learned. She is an older woman who was left with a major secret to carry just after losing her beloved husband. On top of that, she had just been diagnosed with Lyme disease and undergone heart surgery. Just because Brady learned that Marlena knew what Rachel had done all along does not negate those facts. Yes, Brady was emotional after just leaving Rachel at Bayview while she cried and screamed for him, but he didn't need to run to Marlena to practically cry and scream at her just moments later. Maybe he should have cooled down first before laying into his own mother again. Marlena should have told him the truth, but she didn't keep the secret for malicious reasons. She thought she was doing the right thing and even trying to respect Kristen's wishes as the woman who went to prison to cover for her daughter's actions. Maybe it's time for Brady to calm down and go a little easier on a woman who is already lying in a hospital bed, distraught. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Days of Our Lives reveals Peter Blake has been recast with Dan Gautier, and he's back in Salem soon. Our trusted leaker told us that he is the one who has kidnapped the Dimeras, shoved them in the crypt, and he's got more mischief planned soon. We've got confirmation in the new long promo that Days released that Peter Blake is definitely back, and we know who the actor is. Our leaker had actually told us, even before the promo came out, that it is Peter who's doing the kidnapping, and there's some really bad stuff that he's going to be doing. We've got lots to unpack. In case you don't remember Peter, that is Kristen Dimera's no-good brother. He is the son of that nutter, Rachel Blake, who of course is Kristen's wicked mom, who was plotting with her namesake granddaughter, Rachel Black, and helped her kidnap Ava Vitale last year. Then, if you remember, Rachel was going to testify against EJ Dimera, and so he disappeared her for a while, which absolutely enraged Kristen. With that in mind, fans have been wondering who's been snatching the Dimeras up one by one. First, Tony Dimera was hijacked in Greece while on a cruise with his wife, Anna Dimera. Next to get taken was Kristen Dimera, who woke up hogtied and blindfolded, but out of prison against her will. So, she's a little horrified that she's been broken out of jail because she thinks that's going to increase her prison sentence. This week, Chad Dimera was taken and he was dumped in the crypt with his siblings. Next to join the abducted crew in the crypt is their nephew, Theo Carver. So, he's going to run into a bit of trouble, and it looks like he gets snagged this week as well. Maybe next week. The culprit? Well, some people think it's EJ because he's been up to no good lately. Plus, he's not been seen dumped in with the crypt crew. But no, it is not EJ doing the snatch and grabs of his siblings. According to our trusty leaker, they told us the kidnapper is none other than Peter Blake, who's locking them all up. They told us this about a week ago, but because of Thanksgiving, I didn't have time to cover it. Then the promo came out, and you can see just a little bit of Peter. In case you don't remember, Peter is also a Dimera. Like Kristen, her brother Peter was adopted by Stefano Dimera. Peter was always a sketchy dude and very much followed in his adopted dad, Stefano's footsteps. Back in the day, Peter was a drug runner, a kidnapper, an absolute killer, and he's not been seen since '98. So it's been a hot minute. Why would Kristen's brother turn up out of the blue and start kidnapping his siblings and his nephew? Well, maybe Peter is trying to frame EJ so he can take over the family empire. Maybe he's the one who's going to be the new Stefano. Or maybe Peter is angry at what EJ put his mother Rachel through and is framing him. The one thing we do know is that when this all comes out, Peter winds up at University Hospital. He is in a bed and is screaming at Kristen as she apologizes to her big brother, saying how sorry she is. Hopefully, his jungle madness hasn't come back. I don't know if you were watching back then if you remember that he had gotten bitten by a mosquito, and he had jungle madness, which would lead him into these fits of rage. He was eventually cured of it, but when you're inventing diseases, you can invent long-term mental damage or recurrences. We're not going to have to wait too long to find out. Recast Dan Gautier makes his Salem debut as the new Peter Blake just before Christmas on December 19th. Of course, this is a huge surprise comeback. Longtime Days fans may recall that it was Jason Brooks in the role starting in the mid-90s. Peter originally came to Salem in '93 with a mission to keep his sister Kristen away from John Black. Back then, Kristen and John were in a romance before she went all Dimera on him. When Peter and Stefano tried and failed to kill John, we saw Peter trying to persuade Kristen to marry Tony Dimera. They were siblings by adoption, but were not related by blood. Apparently, this was one of Stefano's dying wishes. So Kristen married her adoptive brother Tony for a little while. Stefano had thought that if Kristen married Tony, then she would become more of a Dimera. But it was all just very icky. Back then, Peter was dating Jennifer Horton, and he had this big thing for her, a fixation. But because Peter was deep into drug trafficking, he was worried that Jennifer was going to find this out and break up with him. So he ended up drugging and gaslighting her mom, Laura Horton, because she was the one he was worried was going to find him out and tell Jennifer. Peter was obsessed with Jennifer. They did wind up married, but Peter was still involved in the Dimera drug trade. Jack Devereaux began looking into Peter's shady dealings. Back then, teenage Sarah Horton had helped Jack look into Peter. Sarah had been fascinated by the woman in white legend, aka Rachel. Peter crossed paths with Sarah when he found out she had a crush on Jack and was helping him investigate him. At one point, Sarah dressed up like the woman in white to get closer to Jack. It was all really weird. Peter revealed what he was up to, and then later Peter was arrested. He left Days of Our Lives in 1998. I mentioned the Sarah stuff because our leaker told us that she is also going to be kidnapped. What they told us at the time was that Sarah was going to wind up kidnapped with Kristen. And now we know that there are others there. So we'll see if that part of the leak manifests. And then very recently, they told us that Peter is the kidnapping culprit. So maybe he's holding some bizarre 2-decade-long grudge against Sarah. We'll see if that part of the leak comes true. Our leaker, like I said, had told us months ago that Sarah would also be kidnapped. So we'll have to wait and see if that manifests. Tony, Theo, Chad, and Kristen may get a special non-Dimera guest in the crypt. The big question, of course, is why Peter is taking his adoptive and biological sibling hostage. We've had a few mentions of Peter over the years. It's usually been during a Dimera board vote when Kristen was vying to be CEO, when there was the stuff with Gabby Hernandez trying to take over, and all these things. Peter would usually call in to vote to support her, but we never saw him. But now they've recast the role with Dan Gautier, and we're getting a real Peter story. Last time he was in Salem, he and his adoptive dad Stefano were very close, very much alike. Peter was in prison, but Stefano got him upgraded to a white-collar, easier prison to do his time. And then he was paroled and released. Abe Carver said a few years back that Peter had fallen off the radar and nobody knew where he was since he got out. So, except for those occasional board vote phone calls, it's been radio silence. It's plausible that Peter might be back to be the new Stefano that's been hinted at for so many months, because Peter was definitely as dastardly as dear old dad. We'll find out soon since he pops up in Salem the week before Christmas. Gwen and EJ are in the Dimera living room, going over how they are trying to pull a fast one on the people of Salem. Just then, EJ gets a call from Julie, who is looking for Chad. EJ is disturbed to learn he seems to be missing. Gwen can't believe Jennifer and Julie are so sanctimonious as to banish Chad from the house and his children. EJ is tickled by her defense of his brother, and the two get into the custody battle. He says Chad better get himself together as the custody hearing is the next day. Maggie and Holly are at the Kyriakis mansion reviewing Sarah's recent bout with poisoning. Holly and Maggie ask what happened, which caused her reaction, but Sarah is evasive and asks for dinner. They chat a bit about Holly's Thanksgiving, and she tells them about her friends and their celebration. Holly says she is going to Paris for Christmas. They discuss how Justin and Bonnie are in Chicago with Mimi and how the twins were flown in. Holly notes how she's never met the twins and would love to the next year. Maggie agrees, but clearly worries there might not be a Kyriakis mansion to gather at the next year. Maggie and Sarah move along to discussing Holly's new job as Stephanie's intern. She says she is just looking through and responding to a lot of email. She admits some of it is a bit creepy, but promises to remain safe. Holly exits, and Sarah asks Maggie if Xander used her medical emergency to see Victoria. Maggie says no, and then says Xander has been incredibly well behaved. Sarah says Xander showed up at the hospital, but also, again, behaved himself. Maggie thinks maybe he's finally growing up. Maggie and Sarah return from eating dinner. She asks her daughter what she doesn't want them to know about her poisoning. Sarah says she can't say much, but can only say it wasn't an accident. Maggie assumes the worst about Xander, but Sarah assures her mother it wasn't him. Maggie wonders who is actually responsible for her daughter's pistachio nightmare. Theo is in the office at Dimera handling grown folks' business. Just then, he gets a text from Abe asking why he isn't around for dinner. Theo calls EJ for help, and his uncle immediately heads over. EJ arrives at Dimera to help Theo with the language of a contract. EJ gets all kinds of annoyed and makes a call. Theo reprimands his uncle as he wants their business contacts to believe he knows what he is doing. He says he and Tony were supposed to be partners, but thanks EJ for his help. EJ thanks him for all he is doing and agrees to help him with this contract. Just then, Theo gets a text to head over to Johnny and Chanel's. They wish each other a happy holiday, and EJ exits. Theo arrives home, and Abe asks why he didn't return any of his messages. Theo says he was trying to deal with stuff and called on EJ, who was ready for the challenge. Abe thinks it's a good thing to ask for help, and Theo heads off to wash up for dinner. Paulina hugs her husband and congratulates him on his mature turn. But flashbacks remind us how Abe pulled EJ into a partnership to unseat his son. The entire Carver-Dimera family celebrates Theo being home. Johnny says how happy he is to be a part of their amazing family. Paulina thinks that's what family is about, and says how thrilled they are with their newest family member. Just then, little T cries, and Paulina heads off to deal with her grandchild. Xander awakens and continues to be a sad sack, wishing himself a happy bloody Thanksgiving. He looks at a picture of Sarah and flashes back to better times. His hungover behind heads over to Horton Square and runs into Gwen, who is unwilling to listen to his sad sack bull sock. Gwen brings Xander back to the Dimera mansion for a bit of nosh to cure his hangover. Xander questions Gwen's kindness, but she takes a bite of his food to prove she's not drugging him. He finishes his meal, and Gwen asks why he got so hammered the night before. They reminisce and recall why they were once together. Xander thanks Gwen for everything, but knows there is something in it for her. EJ enters his lab with the human-sized tubes. He looks down and says being there is the closest he will get to spending the holiday with his loved ones. He sits next to the tube, and EJ rubs it lovingly, saying Dr. Rolfe is moving forward with his trials. EJ hopes it means he will be seeing them soon. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, December 3rd reveal that Sophia Choi shocks Rachel and more. Read on for soap opera news full breakdown of what's coming up. Ever since her mental breakdown at the Brady pub, Sophia Choi hasn't said a single word. She just sits and stares into space, and no matter who talks to her, there's just no response. Not even a blink. But that's about to change. Brady just checked his little one into Bayview, where Sophia has been staying ever since doctors evaluated her and confirmed she suffered a breakdown. Now, Sophia decides to walk into Rachel's room, and Rachel is in for a shock. According to spoilers, Sophia surprises Rachel in a major way. After months of silence, Sophia suddenly starts chatting with her. But what is Sophia really up to? Did she finally experience a breakthrough? Or has she been faking it this whole time? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, it's that kind of day in Salem. Brady is understandably worried about his daughter after checking her into a facility for the mentally ill. It was a tough call, but one he knew he had to make. When Brady opens up about the whole ordeal, his son Tate makes a promise. What could it be? As for Marlena, she's feeling some type of way after Brady told her he doesn't want her involved in Rachel's care. Marlena felt that. It stung. And that's because she's been keeping the truth from him this whole time. Look for Marlena to confide in Leo. Day's spoilers for December 3rd also reveal that Kate and Maggie talk Titan business. It's been a minute since Kate's been in the corporate drama, so welcome back to the fold, Katie. Let's see what Maggie has to tell her. Meanwhile, Holly frets to Ari. This is probably about her new job working for Stephanie at SJPR, unless it's about something else. Maybe her love life? Time will tell. So, do you think Sophia has been faking? Sound off in the comments and don't miss more Duel spoilers coming soon. The previous episode of Days of Our Lives saw Sarah shock Maggie. On the other hand, Gwen took pity on Xander, looking at his state. EJ and Theo teamed up regarding the disappearances. And then, last but not least, Abe, Paulina, Johnny, and Chanel's Thanksgiving meal was delayed. The drama, the joy, the gathering, the gratitude, the plotting, the worry, the sympathy, and more are about to elevate soon. Here's what the fans can expect from the December 2nd, 2025 episode of Days of Our Lives when they tune in to Peacock to stream the daytime drama based in Salem, Illinois. The episode on Tuesday sees Leo and Javi having a scratchy encounter with Gwen. The whole Dimitri drama caused a lot of cracks in the friendship between Leo and Gwen. Their run-ins are now frosty and full of friction. But Leo and Javi are engaged and all set to be married soon. Will they tell her? What will this scratchy encounter be about? Meanwhile, Kat asks EJ for help. What could this be related to? Considering she is actively working against him, trying to expose his secrets, this will be an interesting development. Is this her way of setting a trap for him to fall into so that her job gets even easier? On the other hand, Kayla confirms Marlena's diagnosis. It has been a while since Marlena has been trying to recover in the hospital, but her infection is simply not healing despite the antibiotics she is receiving. And now it seems that Kayla has answers. What exactly could Marlena's health diagnosis be? Elsewhere, Belle asks Paulina for support. But what could this be about? Is this something on the personal or professional front? How will Paulina help Belle in this situation? And then lastly, Brady struggles to get through to Rachel. The father-daughter duo is having trouble communicating. While Brady is trying to help Rachel understand that she needs professional help to overcome her condition, the little girl is not ready to listen. What will this lead to? Will Brady have to force Rachel to stay in the facility and get help? Will this cause a crack in their relationship? Especially with Kristen missing? Rachel shot EJ, and then she tried to target Sarah by ensuring she had an allergic attack to pistachios. Her brain cannot stop connecting evil, and it's time she gets the help she needs. But will this plan be a major dud? Suzanne Rogers is not closing the door on Days of Our Lives just yet. She had just cemented her name in daytime history. Rogers recently called the Peacock soap her home. In an interview with People, Rogers admitted that she's grateful for playing the role of Maggie Horton. She lost out on a role with The Young and the Restless, which didn't stop her. Rogers persevered and landed an iconic role that cemented her daytime legacy. For 52 years, she's tackled challenging and complex storylines. Days itself amassed billions of fans from around the world. Rogers believes that the reason Maggie's story has captivated so many people is that it remains timeless and relevant to this day. During Peacock's Days of Our Lives' 60th anniversary celebration, Rogers revealed when she plans on stepping away from the soap for good. 60 is wonderful. I mean, not many shows can do that, Rogers said. I love it. It's my whole life and my home for a long time. However, she admitted that she would eventually walk away if the show were to write off her character somehow. Oh, listen. If they say bye, I'll go. I had a good run, Rogers said with a laugh. Rogers assured Days fans that she's not going anywhere, anytime soon. Nothing will keep her away from the show. Not even cancer or health issues. I'm not going until they lock me out, she joked. Over the summer, rumors swirled about Rogers' exit from the show. At the time, fans were concerned that Maggie's storyline could end. At the time, a spokesperson exclusively told people that the rumors could not be further from the truth. Rogers admitted that she's had a rough summer after she was diagnosed with colon cancer. Now, she's feeling much better since she's in remission. Rogers learned not to worry about the small things that she can't control. Currently, her main focus is to share Maggie's story on Days, and you can bet that she will continue to do that for as long as she can. What are your thoughts on Rogers' plans to stay on the soap indefinitely? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.